So these are the three big things missing in most AI teams today. There are three things to focus on when it comes to AI agent testing. The first is that it's not really about testing anymore. It's more or less lifecycle management. And that's broken down into two areas. You've got everything you need to do before you go live. That's your traditional testing. What we've built, what we've designed, is it doing the thing that we want it to do consistently? And is it not doing the stuff that we don't want it to do? So can we not break it? Is it not going to give us, use the wrong tool at the wrong time, hallucinate, all that kind of stuff? All that stuff is what you would test before you go live. But with generative AI, what's really interesting is as soon as you do go live, you're not out of the woods. You've got to make sure that any changes that you make to the live system as you iterate it over time, which you inevitably will, doesn't damage or regress existing functionality. It's continuously testing based on everything else that gets released afterwards to make sure that if you change a prompt in one place, it's not going to affect some unintended part of the system elsewhere. The next thing is about drift. So just because you have a stable system today and your AI agent's performing really well today, that doesn't mean that that's going to be the case in 6 weeks' time or 12 weeks' time. Model drift is a very real thing, and if you don't have the tools to be able to test for it or sniff it out when it happens, you're going to find yourself with a degrading system over time. And the third thing once you're live is that the models get updated. So just because you're using Sonnet 4.7 today, that's not the model that's going to exist this time next year. 4.7 will disappear, 4.8, 4.95, whatever the next model will be. All the while you've got this live AI agent, it's going to require model updates, and you're going to need to make sure that those model updates don't degrade the system that you've built and that your prompts are still working. So you've got pre-live testing and you've got live testing. The second thing when it comes to kind of quality assuring your AI agent is you want to test the full conversation. You see, most teams will just test when I ask a question, do I get the right answer? Interactions don't happen in isolated turns. They happen across the course of a conversation, and you have to be able to test for what happens in a conversation rather than what happens when a question is asked. And that's crucial because there is mounting evidence pointing to how large language models degrade over time. Every single model out there right now degrades after about 8 to 10 turns. So your platform might have a bunch of guardrails and a bunch of context management and all this kind of stuff, but the native models on their own start to degrade. So you've got to be able to test over the course of an entire conversation, one, can users actually achieve their ultimate outcome, and two, can they do so without your model degrading and without the experience breaking during the middle of it. And the third thing is consistency. Most teams, they will test in isolation, as I've said. They will test a question and a response, and a question and a response, and they'll think, okay, for that use case, we're done, we're pretty happy. But what's incredibly interesting is how behavior changes in large language models over time. You have a conversation today and it might be great. You have another conversation today about the same topic and it might be great. Have another conversation, it might be brilliant. The fourth conversation, all of a sudden you've got a problem. And most teams will just test once or test twice, and they won't think about 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. If you test the same conversation 10 times in a row, I would wager that across your use cases, you will find inconsistencies that you will not find if you just test these things manually. So these are the three big things missing in most AI teams today. And this is what we covered in the webinar that we did all about AI agent testing and lifecycle management recently. The first thing is that people view AI agent testing as something that you do before you go live, not as something that you have in place as part of your product lifecycle management. Two, teams are testing in isolation, isolated turns, request, response, question, answer, instead of conversations, multi-turn conversations where the user's goal emerges during the course of it and our customers actually getting their actual outcomes rather than just an accurate answer to one single question. And third is lacking consistency. Just because you test something once and you get a good result does not mean that that's going to be the case every single time you test it. And if you line up 10 customers, they all might have a different experience unless you can get this consistency bit right. So that is what we covered in detail in the webinar I mentioned, the link to which is below. And if you want us to help you figure this out for your team, then let me know and I'm sure we can arrange a conversation about how we can help you figure this out.